Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be going over this week's slate of NFL games and predicting who's going to come out on top in each game. Before we get started though, please drop a quick like and a sub on today's video. It would really help my channel grow. I'd really appreciate that. With that said, let's dive right into the video and I hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to week 13 of the NFL season. Let's start off with Chargers versus Cincinnati. Chargers coming off a pretty tough loss against the Broncos last week, and the Bengals they're playing some really good football. I mean, beating a Pittsburgh team pretty badly, last week. I mean, Pittsburgh was absolutely terrible in that game, and the Bengals rushed all over them. Joe Mixon had I think 150 rushing yards, he had a lot of rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. I think Cincinnati will take this game. I just like their kind of football right now. They're playing really good offensively, and defensively they're getting the job done. I mean, this team's offense is carrying them at the end of the day, but their running game's there. The Chargers struggled last week against the Broncos defense that has been really good at times this year, but overall that's a Broncos team that struggled. Teddy Bridgewater was banged up for large parts of that game. Javonte Williams had a massive game last week, so I'm thinking kind of that running attack is something that's really hurting this Chargers team right now. And for those reasons, I think the Broncos get the win. Their running game is really, really strong right now. So I think Cincinnati gets the win at home against the Chargers. Now, though, let's go to the Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans. The Texans coming off a loss, I believe, against the Jets. Yeah, they lost 21-14. The Colts were in that game against the Buccaneers. They were up in the first half, and they ended up tying it in the second half late. Of course, it's Tom Brady and the Bucs, so what's going to happen? Yeah, 2 minutes left in the ball in Tom Brady's hands, you know what's going to happen, and the Bucs are going to win. But nonetheless, I think the Colts, they're still a really competitive team at 6-6. They're a lot better than their record suggests. Really solid defensively, and that running attack is so great. More importantly, Houston's not a good team, and at the end of the day, this is an easy win for the Colts. The Colts need to win this game absolutely if they want to maintain pace in that AFC playoff race. And there are a lot of teams in that playoff race right now, so it'll be interesting to see, what the Colts will be able to do at the end of the season. But I think that they should definitely be one of the favorites to land one of those wild card spots. Their running game, Jonathan Taylor is doing a really good job, and Carson Wentz is actually having a pretty nice year too. Now we've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers at this point in the season, I don't have any faith in them at this point. I think it's got to be the Ravens here. I just like their overall team. Even when they're injured too, they're always able to stay in games. And Pittsburgh's just had a really bad run of late. I think that at the end of the day, this Pittsburgh team is out of it, and I think Baltimore gets the win. Now we go to the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Really big game. I think this is a Sunday night football game, and especially Denver coming off a big win against the Chargers. That was really big. Kept pace in the division a little bit. Allowed them to try and stay in that playoff push, I guess. But overall, I just think that the Chiefs are a team that need to win this game. Absolutely, it's 100% a must-win game for them. They've got to stay at the top of that AFC West, and that's what they can do. They were a little bit banged up. They got a few injured guys back last week or 2 weeks ago. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but how 100% is he? But nonetheless, I think this is a really good opportunity for Kansas City at home, especially on Sunday Night Football, to get a win in the in the division and really take a commanding control of that division in the AFC West. Now we've got arguably one of the better games of the week here: Patriots and Buffalo. Patriots away from home at Buffalo on Monday Night Football. I'm sorry, Patriots fans. I know you've had a run of 6 games in a row of wins, and really great win against Tennessee last week. Mac Jones and this defense they're cooking, and Kendrick Bourne had a nice game too. But overall, Buffalo, I think this is the time where they really show what they're about. I think Buffalo at the end of the day is the better team than New England. I know that New England right now has the better record, and they're doing a little bit better. But overall, I think this is the time where Buffalo really steps their game up and shows who's boss in the AFC East. Because at the end of the day, I don't think it's the Patriots. I think it's the Bills. I think maybe in a few years it might be the Patriots, depending on the development of Mac Jones. But right now, the Bills are the better team. And they haven't played like that in the past few weeks, especially with the Patriots being on a hot streak. And the Patriots are going to play competitively. And this game is not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a close game. But I think Buffalo gets it done especially just with such a firepower of an offense too, with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. Now we've got the Giants and the Miami Dolphins, both teams coming off wins last week. Giants beating the Philadelphia Eagles in arguably one of the worst games of the season, 13-7. Jalen Hurts was terrible in that game. And the Dolphins coming off a massive win against Carolina Panthers, 33-10. At the end of the day, I think the Dolphins get the win. I mean, they're 4-0 in their last four. They're surging a little bit, trying to get back into this playoff race. Started the season off 1-7. They're 4-0 in their last games. They sit at 5-7. I think the Dolphins did a really good number on the Panthers last week. Their defense is playing at the top of how they're playing. They're looking like the defense from last year, and they can compete with any offense in the NFL right now. I mean, they shut down the Ravens a few weeks ago. Obviously, they did really well against the Panthers last week, and they did well against the Texans and the Jets. But those offenses don't really mean too much. But they're blitzing a lot, and they're putting a lot of pressure on defense on offenses. They're doing a really good job, and I don't think that Giants offense can handle that. And also, Tua Tagovailoa is playing some really good football right now. So I think the Miami Dolphins get the job done. Now we've got the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Jets. Eagles, tough loss against the New York Giants last week. They'll get another shot at MetLife, though, as they play the Jets away from home. I think this is the game where the Eagles have to win, and I think it's a game that they do win. They want to stay in that playoff race conversation, and I think that getting up on a team like the Jets is the perfect opportunity to do that, especially with potentially Zach Wilson being injured. Or dealing with some injuries. He's had nagging injuries the entire season. The Eagles have got to win this game. I mean, I think that they're by far the better team. And although last week was a fluke in a way, they need to bounce back big against the Jets. Now we've got the Washington Football Team and the Las Vegas Raiders, two really interesting teams here coming into this week. Las Vegas, I think, gets the win, though. They beat a really good Cowboys team last week. I was honestly shocked about that. I thought Dallas was going to win that game. But, Las Vegas, Derek Carr is playing some great football. He's just not being talked about whatsoever. So I think Las Vegas gets the job done. Washington's defense hasn't been as good as this year as they have in previous years, or really last year. And we were really expecting a big defensive year for them this year. Obviously, they lost Chase Young. But I think that Derek Carr and the Raiders, they've got the tools to win this game here. Now we get the Rams and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sometimes I mix the Jaguars and the Chargers, not the Rams and the Chargers. Don't know how I did that. But we've got the Jaguars and the Rams. Rams coming off a string of really bad losses. Obviously, 2 losses going into the bye, and then the loss against the Packers last week. Matthew Stafford, even if you look at the stat line from the game against the Packers, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, but it wasn't that pretty. It was actually really ugly. That interception was a pick 6, lost a fumble. He's not playing good football, but this is the perfect game for you to come back home, right, and get the win against a bad team in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's really struggling. They've struggled all year, and this is a perfect game for the Rams to come in and do what they need to do, take care of business, get the win, get them back on their feet, and try and get back into some momentum as they play Arizona, I think, the week after, which will be a big game for them. But I think the Rams get the win. Now we've got Dallas and we've got New Orleans. Dallas, I think, gets the win here. I mean, they've struggled a little bit of late. They've lost their last couple, I think. Obviously, they lost to Las Vegas on Thanksgiving. The Saints, obviously, they're in a spot where they're not competing at this point in the season. I mean, Kamara's banged up. Mark Ingram was banged up. They don't even have a quarterback. Trevor Siemian is playing the worst football I've ever seen in my life. Dallas gets the win. It's easy for them. Dak Prescott's going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just watch it happen. Now we've got Arizona and we've got Chicago. Arizona coming off the bye. Remember, they were having a little bit of injury concerns. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Chase Edmonds. I think maybe some of those guys they get back against Chicago, especially coming off the bye. They're well rested. They're sitting, I think, at 9-2. And they're playing a team like Chicago that struggled all year. They're 3-8. And Andy Dalton did a good job last week getting them a win, I think. Nah, are they 3-8? Yeah, no. I don't think they're 3-8. They might be 4-7. I don't know. Anyway. Arizona, I think, gets the win, though. I mean, they're the better team, and Chicago's been struggling all year. Matt Nagy is a terrible play caller, and he should just be fired. And Arizona gets the win. Now we get the Bucs and the Falcons. I think the Bucs get the win. I mean, they played a really good football against the Colts, got the win. Defensively, they did what they had to do. They stopped the run, and Atlanta doesn't have a defense. So, I mean, they're going to throw for millions of yards on that Falcons defense, and that Falcons secondary that's just playing really badly. I mean, they've been struggling for the past 2 years, and at the end of the day, I think the Bucs, they're one of the better teams in the league. They're going to be in that playoff conversation. They're going to beat the Falcons. I mean, they're gonna. I mean, Tom Brady doesn't lose to teams like the Falcons. Now we've got Minnesota. We've got Detroit. Minnesota coming off a kind of a heartbreaking loss against the 49ers last week. They were really in that game for large parts of the game. Honestly, had opportunities down the stretch, missed them. I mean, the 49ers missed a field goal to go up by 11 with like a minute and a half left or 2 minutes left, and they couldn't come back and capitalize. I think that, even with Dalvin Cook going down, Detroit's been so banged up this year. I mean, heartbreaking loss to the Bears on Thanksgiving. Jared Goff, I don't even think is that bad, or the defense is not even that bad. It's just everything is just going wrong for Detroit. Minnesota's got to capitalize. They've got to stay with some of those other teams in that playoff conversation. But more importantly, you got to remember Minnesota, without Dalvin Cook, completely different team. But good thing is Alexander Mattison has been productive while he stepped up for Dalvin Cook. So, maybe, the Alexander Mattison, running back situation won't be the worst. Obviously, tough loss, not having your star running back. But I think Minnesota gets it done. Now we've got San Francisco and Seattle, and to be honest, Seattle's really struggled all year. I mean, with Russell Wilson banged up a little bit and coming back from injury, they're not where they need to be in any regard at this point in the season. San Francisco coming off a big win too. Jimmy G looked good. Deebo Samuel might be injured. That might be a little bit concerning. But overall, I think San Francisco gets the win. I mean, Elijah Mitchell's been fantastic. He's in 400-yard rushing games. The Seattle run defense isn't that great either. So I think San Francisco gets the win away from home. Seattle's just really had a rough season. With that said, those are going to be my game picks for Week 13 of the NFL season. Do you agree with them? Why or why not? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. I think we've got some really good games. I really look at that New England-Buffalo game. I think that's going to be a very good game. That'd probably be my game of the week. And then, of course, you've got a ton of other games that are important for different teams, but I think that Cincinnati Chargers game could be an underrated game too. Remember that Cincinnati Chargers, that was the first game Joe Burrow played in last year. Joe Burrow, I don't remember if he won that game for them, but definitely. I think he did, because I remember that Tyrod Taylor lost. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, so I think those are the games to really watch out for. Definitely LA, Cincinnati, definitely New England, Buffalo. Maybe Baltimore, Pittsburgh too. Denver, Kansas City will be a good one on Sunday Night Football. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed my picks. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. And with that said, that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new around here, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I'd really appreciate that. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, see ya.